Hi, I'm Nick Peterson. I'm one of the counselors here at FRHC High School.
And I'm Nicole Alvarado, one of the counselors at FRHC High School. We'd like to welcome you to this video as we are going to be discussing the registration presentation that we are giving today, January 2017, at our curriculum fair night. This presentation will give you an overview of information on the registration process for incoming 9th grade students, as well as an overview on the curriculum that we offer here at Fossil Ridge. Thank you first and foremost for attending our transition series as we help support students from the middle school transition into high school. You may have attended our Ridge 101 presentation, which was last month, and today we'd like to welcome you to our curriculum fair presentation. So the idea for today is to share with you information about registration for incoming students, as well as a chance for students and parents to talk to teachers about curriculum that we offer here at Fossil Ridge High School. The next dates to be aware of are February 16th and February 17th, as we have our incoming students attend a morning over here at Fossil Ridge High School, receive presentations from their counselor, as well as go on tours of the building. Again, you can see the distribution dates of when we give out our registration materials to students will be on February 16th and 17th, and a couple weeks later, high school counselors will go over to the middle schools to collect their registration materials. So we will be collecting the enrollment paperwork as well as our registration form, which we will show you right now. So our registration form is a form that we use to collect all of the classes that your student wants to sign up for as a freshman here at Fossil. So we have all the classes that are available to them as a 9th grade student and indicate which credit they will receive for that class. So if a class will receive 5 credits, it's a semester-long class, 10 credits, a year-long class. And it shows as well the basic criteria for students to be considering when thinking about signing up for a pre-AP class. We've color-coded some of the classes to show if there's a prerequisite that is required. And this, again, is the form that students will mark down their choices and turn into their high school counselor when they meet at their middle school. You can also download another copy should you lose this copy on the FRHScourseguide.org. So some important things to remember on the registration form is to fill out your name, student ID, and middle school, as well as it could be a helpful reminder to write down the due date of when your counselor will be coming over to the middle school. And this form is definitely a form that we hold on to and review throughout the year just to make sure that choices are appropriate, and if we ever need to reflect back on those choices, we certainly have that on hand as well. So the point of the registration form is to ensure that students are signing up for a full schedule, including their 7 classes each semester plus their advisory course. So note that every period of the day will be filled with a class, as well as the lunch hour is in there as well. We can show you what our weekly schedule here at Fossil looks like. So on Monday, you will have all the classes 1 through 7, and as well as lunch in there. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, you'll have your odd classes 1, 3, 5, and 7. Wednesdays and Fridays are even days, so you'll have periods 2, 4, and 6. And Wednesdays, we have our late start, where students won't begin classes until 9, 10. And then on Friday, we also add in that advisory class, which will automatically be signed up for on the registration form. So no need to sign up for that. We've also included on there just a simple key for you to review. So again, like I mentioned before, courses that are in orange will have a prerequisite or possibly an application required. So to double check, if you're unsure, take a look at the FRHS Course Guide website to look over the curriculum for each course. We may ask for a teacher signature required. This typically applies for students considering a pre-AP option, a math class, and their foreign language course as well. And note that we do have concurrent enrollment classes available from both Front Range Community College and CU Boulder. Those will be noted by little notation right next to the key.
All right, moving into the actual course selections, we have it broken apart by the PSD graduation requirement. So we're going to be starting with math. You can see in the upper part of the heading the category, mathematics, and then beneath that, that's not in bold, is the total amount of credits that a student needs to fulfill while they're in high school in order to graduate from PSD. In the case of mathematics, it's 30 credits. Many of our students we know get some of these credits in middle school, which is great. So as we look down at the offerings, we won't be reading the list to you, but you can see as of now, there are some changes, especially as it pertains to geometry and algebra 1. And we'll be talking more about these live in the curriculum fair, as this is kind of a dynamic situation. But the bottom line is the math department is exploring some awesome opportunities to give students the ability to have some flexible choices in advancing through mathematics. It also allows for remediation and acceleration as necessary. The upper level maths, Algebra 2 on higher, are the same as they've always been, and we basically have a linear progression from the top to the bottom of the list. Note that a teacher signature is required, and that is the current 8th grade teacher signature. Usually we expect a strong C or higher, plus demonstration of the abilities to promote, and that's up to the 8th grade teacher to decide mainly. We did include the math flowchart as it stands now, just as another visual aid to see the progression of the courses. And then here is scenarios showing on the left what a student could be in 8th grade and what that may potentially lead to pending a teacher's recommendation in 9th grade. So feel free to reflect on this and use this resource tool. Both the flowchart and this are online on our course guide, frhscourseguide.org as well. Couple things I already hit on about math. Again, we do have the teacher signature box, and we do stick to that. That is the most important recommendation. They know you best and they know your abilities. Now, if you register now, which is in February, and then things don't go the way you like it and you end up with a D or an F in second semester 8th grade math, we may have to go back and change it. So just know that there is a pretty tight communication loop between middle schools and high schools, and the recommendation now can be subject to change depending on how the spring goes. All right, moving on to language arts.
So for language arts, we have a couple of options in terms of the core requirements. So there will be either the English 9 option or the pre-AP English option. And we do ask for teacher signature for that pre-AP course. You'll also see on the registration form additional courses that give language arts credit, but that are not the core requirements. So as you can see on there, some ones that we can kind of point out: forensics, argumentation, debate, journalism, all of those still do in fact give language arts credit, but they are not considered that year-long core requirement that we really strongly encourage for students who are college-bound. Next, moving on to science, another place on our registration form is we do ask that students sign up for at least one science offering their freshman year, if not 2. So for some students who are really excited, passionate about science, they may want to consider signing up for ESS in addition to either biology or pre-AP biology. We really encourage students and parents to talk to the science department to really get a sense if that is in your best interest or not. You would not be behind if you would only take 1 year of science your freshman year, but for some students who really want to accelerate, take a lot more upper level science courses, this might be an option to consider. So again, I just want to give you a visual. Biology and earth system science are the prerequisites in order for a student to advance into a higher level science elective. So students who really want to get right to this in their sophomore or junior year, for them we would encourage them to take biology or pre-AP biology at the same time as taking their ESS course. So that would allow students, when they become a 10th grader, a sophomore here at Fossil, they can go right into chemistry or another higher level science elective. So provided that they meet the math requirements. Now, if a student can't fit into classes but still wants to take a higher level, they could do ESS in 9th grade and then take biology and chemistry concurrently in 10th grade. For those extremely strong science students and math students who want to see if they can take a placement test to test out of having to take ESS, that is an option for you. There's only one time for you to be able to do this, and that's 3 p.m. on Wednesday, February 22nd, here at Fossil Ridge High School in the Roundhouse. So it's the only opportunity for students to take that test, and it will be proctored by one of our science teachers as well. If you have questions, we'd like you to visit the science table. Definitely engage with those teachers, and then also take a look at that website that we have on here to get a bit more information on the Earth System Science Placement Test. It includes some objectives for you to consider. World Language and Culture graduation requirement. This is an area where you do need 10 credits in order to graduate. Typically, students take both a World History or Pre-AP World History in addition to their foreign language courses. Again, this might change for every student because every student is different, but we strongly encourage social studies offerings to make sure that they're competitive for college admissions if that is in fact their post-secondary plan, as well as making sure that they are signed up for the appropriate world language course as well. We offer 3 language courses here at Fossil: Spanish, French, and German, so we strongly encourage you to take a look at that as well. I think I just touched on this, Mr. Peterson, but again, those 3 languages that we have here are German, French, and Spanish. And, if you're new to a foreign language, we have a really thriving and growing German 1 program with a great teacher, so we always encourage you to take a look at new choices. And you may actually receive some credit for those middle school courses if you have, in fact, taken a foreign language class at the middle school level. So you may notice that you receive high school credit for that, and we can certainly touch more on that a bit later in the presentation.
All right, moving on to the back side of the form. This showcases all of the fine and applied arts, wellness, and electives that are available to 9th graders. Here we go. First is the fine and applied arts graduation category, and this is a pretty big one. If we look here, it starts with the visual arts department offerings. And while we have a lot of offerings, note that only 10 credits total are needed for graduation in this. So when students take more than 10 credits of any graduation category, the credits roll into the electives category. So here we go. We have Design Foundations of Art, which is the gateway to all of the listed prerequisites below that, as well as photography and then creative photography. Computer, Tech, and Design has some great options, as you can see. And then our Engineering, Science, and Tech offerings are also expanding. A lot of students really love getting started with engineering explorations, woods, or metals. Moving down the list, Family and Consumer Science has Interior Design and Fashion Design 1, and then those have second levels as well. And then our music department offerings that are 10 credits each, year-long ensembles. These are the gateway options for 9th grade students. Sometimes we have students that want to try and place into a more advanced group, and we just ask that you get in touch with the appropriate music teacher here at Fossil Ridge if that is a case that you would like to make. Please note to read the fine print about the band classes, especially because Symphonic Band does have a co-requisite of Marching Band and Pep Band. Those classes are like bonus credits because they count outside the school day, so it's possible for a band student to get more than 70 credits in their schedule, and that's A-OK. And then finally in this list we have the theater and media offerings. We usually get a lot of questions about this because things like auditions and stuff can be involved with theater foundations and musical theater and technical theater. We just ask that you consult the appropriate teacher and look at the course guide for more detailed information on those. All right, the wellness graduation requirement, otherwise mainly known as like the PE offerings. You can see Physical Education 1 is the gateway there, and then you have the 3 other options that are able to follow PE in the 9th grade year. Also note that the Family Consumer Sciences department offers a class for 5 wellness credits, and that's Food, Nutrition, and Wellness for students looking for something a little bit different. We do get questions about wellness waivers, and that's kind of a decreasing phenomenon in the district, but it is still a program available for students that do athletics here at Fossil Ridge High School. We do ask students to check the counseling website, FRHScounseling.org, and just click on forms if they want to see what that looks like, or just check with their counselor once they're in Fossil Ridge High School. Note that health is typically taken in 10th grade for those who are wondering. All right, finally we have the electives graduation category, and this is a big category, 65 credits. And remember, classes that are taken in the other graduation categories roll over and count as elective once the graduation category is fulfilled. We have plenty of students take 4 years of a music class, and the first year counts for fine and applied arts, and the next 3 years counts towards electives. So that's how that's fulfilled in many cases. So you see here the business department offerings. Introduction to Business is the primary gateway for that. And then we have some other options down below. There is an option for students to take Introduction to Business and Marketing, and they pair together to make a whole year option. That's the suggested route for students who are interested in joining DECA, which is our business club. Next we have Child Development under Family and Consumer Sciences, and then Computer, Tech, and Design has Computer Applications. That's another class that's available for Front Range credit, as you can see here. Integrated Drama is a class that couples with our Integrated Services department. It's a great option and very popular, as well as yearbook production. We do ask that students get a signature for yearbook production, as it's a class that requires a high level of commitment and teamwork. Next, leadership offerings, student council. Please check the website and look for any relevant materials there. There's usually some outreach from our existing student council to the middle schools to formulate the process. We do ask that we have the appropriate measures taken and students not just sign up because they want to do it, but they've actually been approved. Okay, marching band counts for elective credits. That's an exciting thing. It's 5 credits outside the school day. And again, it's a co-requisite with symphonic band. And note that this awards a one-time 2.5 credit waiver towards the wellness requirement in addition to the 5 credits. And all a student has to do is fill out that wellness waiver form on the counseling website. And then lastly, in the counseling mindfulness elective category is a yoga and mindfulness class. We ask that people take a look at that if they're interested. All right, a couple of considerations. We'll just recognize that we want everybody to read that. It just mainly talks about our scheduling policy, and you can click on our FAQs on our counseling website as well if you want to know more about that. But basically, the nuts and bolts of it is that when a student makes their registration selections at this time of year, our school allocates resources and develops the master schedule accordingly. So it makes changes after the fact very difficult. And so we ask that students and parents and teachers are be very committed to these decisions. Okay, we have the alternate selection list here. We ask that students populate that with 3 other choices in addition to their primary selections, just in case we run into a issue with not being able to get a class in a schedule due to a conflict. Once again, total credits must equal at least 70, and then we ask that students and parents sign off on this very important choice. All right. This was a lot of information, and we know people are going to leave with questions. So the resource we recommend, first and foremost, is our course guide website, frhscourseguide.org. We recommend that people use the search feature. That's the easiest way. You can actually just type in a course number, and that's the fastest way to bring up the course in the description. Otherwise, you can navigate through the menus and find the flowcharts and other important information if you'd like as well. It goes without saying, but we want to have students talk to their current teachers and current parents and counselors about their course selections as well. And then finally, we have our Q&A night here on February 22nd at 6 p.m. here at Fossil Ridge. All right, going into course descriptions. This is just zooming in on one of the course descriptions, and we have all these in the course guide website. But just to know that the course title's at the top, the credit total for symphonic band in this example is 10. 5 credits is a half year, 10 credits is a whole year. And then do note the prerequisites, the graduation requirements it meets, and then the grade levels that it's open to. The registration form, once again, is populated with the options that are available to 9th grade students. And then, of course, read the course descriptions. That's where most of your questions can get answered. Okay, we have graduation requirements right here, and this again is on the course guide website. You may be noticing that there's more graduation requirements here than there are listed on the 9th grade registration form, and that's because some of the graduation requirements like U.S. history, social studies are met in grades higher than 9th grade, so we've left those off the registration form to keep it streamlined for you. All right, summer school.
Summer school. So we often get questions about students who are interested in taking summer school and what is the next choice for them to take those courses. PSD will release that information around this time of spring break, and at that time we'll have the applications available on our counseling website as well as in our counseling offices. So those applications you can pick up, you'll look through that. There is a fee associated with summer school, so you'll provide the check and also the information on what classes you're interested in taking. Many graduation required classes are available, and we continue to strongly encourage students to take classes here in the building when their schedule permits. Ooh, it's a very intense slide. Lots of fire, and I think with the Q&A night, because there's going to be lots of questions as well. So this is the best opportunity for you to get questions answered, and I know myself and Mr. Peterson, and there may be a couple other counselors available on that evening, so that if you have a specific question, just come right to us and ask away. We really are starting to move into registration season, not only for our incoming students, but also for our current students, so current students in grades 9, 10, and 11. So at this moment, for the next, I would say, 8 weeks or so, our schedules are pretty jam-packed with meetings, and so we just ask that if you can, please come to this event, because we're not always able to answer such a high volume of calls and emails and make appointment requests at this time. So please, we ask for your patience and grace as we battle this very busy time of the school year. We will have this presentation available for you. Hopefully you're watching it online right now, and if you would like to share this with your friends, you can have them visit FRHScounseling.org and click on the Transition Series tab. So schedule changes, that is a question that we often get sometimes over the summer or after students have submitted their paperwork to us. These choices are very important, so we really do ask that students and parents carefully consider their options, because this is how our school determines the number of courses that we are going to offer and the staffing that we will provide for each of those classes. Students should receive their schedules before August check-in, and if there are any repairs, we will make sure that we address that as a priority. So schedule repairs are for situations where there may be a mistake, or if you in fact passed a class that maybe we didn't catch at the time. So, or you maybe have 2 biology classes on there. So we would fix those first and foremost. If, however, you change your mind or are just trying to move to a different period, it's not recommended, because again, we have our schedule fairly set. So we want to make sure that when we give you the courses and give you your schedule, it's made in the way with the least intrusive conflicts. So if you change your mind, please note that there will be an opportunity for students to attend Add Drop. It will be held in August. We don't have the exact date quite yet. We should know that by the end of the year, the end of the spring semester. But this is an opportunity where students will be able to change their schedule so long as there's space available in classes. Sometimes there isn't always space available, and in those situations, unfortunately, the change of mind is just not able to be met. But we, again, will have this opportunity available, so if there are opportunities to make slight changes to your schedule, we certainly encourage you to attend that event. So the best tips that we can ask for you to think about and consider before transitioning into high school and just really practicing those skills right now would be self-advocacy, as well as organizational systems, and making sure that you have a really solid system that you feel good about, that you know when you get a homework assignment, that you know exactly where that homework is going to be, getting really comfortable with figuring out the best way that you know how to study, figuring out your study system, what type of learner you are, and making sure that you are meeting your needs, and talking to your current teachers about some curriculum to make sure that you have the right balance as you start to come into high school, because it will be a full schedule and we want to make sure that you're able to handle that workload. So again, the best thing you can do is to really consider carefully the options for 9th grade in those classes and talk to your family to make sure that with all of your outside commitments, whether it's sports or activities, that you're able to handle that balance.
Lots of opportunities at Fossil Ridge to get involved. We just want to highlight that once again. And you can find the information about clubs and activities on our school website. FRH.psdschools.org. Just choose activities, scroll down. There should be a list of all the activities here at Fossil Ridge. We've got a great club going culture, and we just want students to know that they are welcome and encouraged to do that right from the get-go at the very beginning of 9th grade. One thing to note is that we do have a thing called Club Rush at the beginning of the year, an advisory class, which is a chance for students to get exposure. All the clubs promote themselves in the gym, and the students get a chance to go see them and sign up. We have a very high percentage of students that do clubs here. All right, well, that is it. So once again, you can see the registration, distribution, and collection dates. These are probably the most important things that are happening. Again, if you have questions, come to the Q&A on February 22nd at 6 p.m. here at Fossil Ridge. And as always, visit the course guide, frhscourseguide.org, for any questions and to look up course descriptions. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.